Hey Familia, Igni here, and I'm going to take a little time to talk about the Shadowverse first birthday special event, which is just insane. So from May 31st to June 14th, you get double mission rewards, and then from June 13th to June 27th, you get 40 free packs total, 6 free Take-Two tickets. This is just insane. And I think the reason they're doing this is because the new expansion has just been announced, if you haven't heard. Wonderland Dreams coming out very soon. A fairy tale themed expansion here centering around the mascot character Alice from Alice in Wonderland. It's 104 new cards, which introduces a lot of neutral stuff. And I always want to take some time to tell you about, well, first of all, to let you know about this whole thing that's going on. So if you're not playing, you should definitely log in at least and do your missions, as well as make sure you get these daily pack rewards, because this is just nuts. 40 card packs and 6 Take-Two tickets is insane. But I also want to talk about my first impressions on the 3 officially released cards so far. So let's start with the Swordcraft follower here, Bladed Hedgehog. First of all, it's just adorable. Look at it. It's adorable. It's a silver 2-play point 1/3 that evolves to a 3/5. Whenever an enemy follower is destroyed, gain +1/+0. I had a conversation with Snow about this on Discord, and I think we both basically came to the conclusion that this card is pretty damn good. Really premium stats for a 2-drop. It evolves with premium stats also. It gets bigger when you trade into the opposing board. Yeah, it's just all around pretty solid, I think. I think you can definitely see some competitive play. Sword lists are built really tight, so maybe it's going to be hard to find something to cut for this. Another thing is that it's an officer, so it can actually be buffed by stuff like Fencer and White General, so that could be a consideration. This is, yeah, I think this is pretty solid. Next thing we're going to talk about is Witch of Sweets. Now, they said they're going to push neutral in this expansion a lot, and this is one such card. I remember in an interview from before, the devs said that they wanted to print some Ginger support, so this could be something like that. This could help push a neutral Ginger archetype. Well, let's take a look at the card here. It's a 2-play point 2/2 that evolves into a 4/4. It's bronze. With fanfare, draw a card of the number of neutral cards in your hand equals or exceeds the number of Runecraft cards in your hand, excluding this card. Yeah, it's a card that you build a deck around, I think for sure. But neutral rune, I think could definitely work. You just run like Saha, Israfil, you know, that whole package, and then you use spells and amulets to just stall until you get to that point. I don't even know if Ginger is necessary for that kind of archetype. It seems superfluous even. Like, you could run like a control neutral rune, I think. This card, it could potentially just be a one-sided Sammy, which is just insane. But it is pretty conditional. And yeah, definitely you need to build your deck around it, and it doesn't go off all the time either. And a lot of the times, rune cards are just better than neutral stuff. I mean, that's just the case in general. So, I mean, we'll have to see what other neutral support we get from this expansion. I think it's alright. It is just a 2-play point 2/2 as well, if all this fails, but I think it's mediocre. Could be good if the environment is there to support this kind of archetype, but I don't know, standalone it doesn't seem that impactful. I mean, the draw is, yeah, it's just really conditional. It's the thing. Finally, we got Alice, Wonderland Explorer, the hallmark legendary for this expansion. You know how Darkness Evolves had Olivia, Rise of Bahamut had Bahamut, obviously, Tempest had Zeus, and now we have Alice, Wonderland Explorer, the neutral legendary that is the mascot for the expansion. 4-play point 3/4 that evolves to a 5/6. Give +1/+1 to all other allied neutral followers in your hand and in play. Card is quite powerful. If you build your deck around it, that is. Like, I don't think you can just throw this into anything, and that would be good. It's definitely something you build around. Again, we have to see what other neutral tools the expansion releases, but they are saying that this expansion will be focused on neutral cards. So, I'm expecting some powerful tools. I think it's pretty good, but the 4-slot's really competitive with cards that should swing the state of the board. And this card doesn't really. It sets you up for future turns, more like. But, you know, buffing everything on the field and in your hand is pretty powerful. You can play this, and then you can play Goblin on after. You get like a 4/8 ward on 5. It's kind of nuts, right? Yeah, I think this card is potentially powerful in neutral decks. And especially since it evolves to a 5/6 as well, with full evolve stats. I think if you're running a neutral-based deck, you definitely run Alice, Wonderland Explorer at this point. But again, it doesn't really swing the board. Although it sets you up for a lot better for future turns and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty good. I think this card's pretty good. I like it. I like the flavor too. It's just that one thing I'm concerned about with neutral, right? It's just that this is what I'm wary of. That powerful neutral cards like this will just decrease class identity, and that's kind of a problem. I don't think that's what should happen, because I think each class should feel distinct. And right now, Shadowverse has done a pretty good job of making sure that each class does feel distinct. Like, all the mechanics are extremely unique with each class. When you play a different class, it feels like you're playing a different game a lot of the time. Like, for example, Forest is like a completely different game than, you know, Shadow is. And I'm just afraid that if they just introduce a lot of neutral tools, or I guess I'm just concerned, rather, that it'll sort of devalue that a little bit, and that's something I think is unhealthy for the game. But I'm cautiously optimistic. I think these tools are going to be pretty cool to play around with. I really like the design of Sweet Switch, actually. I think this design is really interesting, and you know, they're doing something interesting with their card design, which is nice. That's it for my thoughts so far on the officially released cards, as well as just letting you know about the anniversary celebration. So there you have it. Like the video if you did, don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Shadowverse content in the very near future. And of course, thank you to my wonderful patrons. You have my eternal gratitude. If you'd like to support the channel as well, you can head on over to patreon.com/Ignideus, and if not, that's fine too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.